Let's start. This is a continuation from this video model file. Try to understand the entity framework class versus CRM element class. So I'm doing a next video to continue to this. So let's start. This is the same project that we did until now. Now let's say you know how to write a class. You also know how to assign required variables to the required values to that class properties depending on your requirement. Let's say now I have a person details C# class. It has a three columns. One is a column ID number, another one is a column ID country, another one is a, sorry, it's a property or a field, right? Property has name of person, which is basically a equivalent of this database columns, right, which you are aware already. Now what I will do, I just delete all records from this table. Delete from table name is person details, right? Person detail. Okay, somehow I'm not able to, the intelligence is not coming. That's fine, we go with this approach, right? Delete from this table name one row affected, and then I comment this line. I run this query. Now you see there is 0 records in your table. Now let's go to your program class. I will show you how do you store the records using a C# and how do you store the same record into a database using your entity framework approach. Okay, so you know how to write and then how to assign a required values to your C# object class, right? Now I will work with the person detail class. Let's say I want to store a person details. The person name is Vishwa. Okay, let's say I try to store a person details person object. This is correct. You just go to your basic understanding and then think of it. Now person object dot, what is a property that I need to assign? ID number. Okay, ID number can be 234. Okay, you see here 234. Why I'm choosing an because it is a ID number is a of type int, so I'm assigning an integer number. Then person object dot ID country, you see it is of type string, so I will assign a string value within a double quotes. ID country, maybe you name it as India. Then person object dot, what is the next field? Name of the person, maybe you name this as a PK1. Okay, is this correct? How do you actually act in terms of C# class of type an object that C# class which has its own properties? Now we want to store two people. Okay, this is the C# class first person that you want to store. Now I want to say, can you store one more person which has an additional ID number as 567 or 675, and his country is maybe a Singapore, and you name the person name as VK2. Okay, now I want these two records because this is a second object. I name it as 2. Remember, object dot property you need to correctly assign, otherwise you are actually using the object number 1 assigning the values. So make sure when you are writing a code you use a proper object reference, otherwise your values will have a overridden impact. Okay, now using a C#, you are able to create a class called person manually, but now entity framework help you to create this class, correct? This class, person detail class, is basically generated with the help of entity framework. Then you're trying to store the data into your database, but until now whatever you did using your C#, that assigning a values, all those things, or just with the help of C#, right? It's just a C# basic programming language. Now we are leveraging on entity framework. How do you basically use the entity framework? Remember, this is the model class that it gets created, right? Go to this model class. See, this class type is normal, like normal um, it is not a static class, it is just a normal class, right? So whenever you want to use any properties or methods related to this, you must create an object of your entity framework class. So you just use this class that gets generated, right? Go to your program, just say entity framework model is equal to new entity framework model. Now model dot, you see here the table that we are working with is called as person details, right? That's a DB set. You just add this new person object created here. This is a person object one, right? Then second object also same way, use a person object to, okay, you see this is the entity framework. What is the class name you need to create a object? That is what you need to basically see focus on. And how do you give your C# object to the entity framework? Basically you are feeding, this is my object, that object details you are feeding in a way using this method. Method means the add is a method. This is your property. You see here, this is the DB set of person details, which is from the person detail class. So just spend some time to understand how this is coming actually, right? That model, whatever the model class you are generating, which has the table name called person details, to the existing table details schema, you are trying to send your C# object just now you are creating. So here you are sending the person object first one, this is the second object. Now until now you just feeding the data to your entity framework. Now you are telling with this line, let's say model dot save changes. With this line you are telling to the entity framework, can you please save this data into the database? Okay, so how this knows which database or which table to connect, that information is there in the app.config. This also gets generated when you basically use your connection information from ADO.NET entity framework, that when you generate, right, this is the connection string information. I hope you have seen the previous video. There is a connection name and what is the database it connects to. Okay, all will be generated using that approach. Now you just go to program class, run this code in a debug mode. Okay, I'll show you what is going to happen in the step by step. Okay, just click F10. This is C#, then you just have object created. Now you see a model, you are giving an person object one, it is taking some time. Then also you are giving a person object 2. You see when you feed the data person object 1 and person object 2, just for reference run this query from a SQL server, you see there is no data, because until now you work only in your C# language and you are feeding the data to a framework. Now the framework, until here you feed a data, now you are telling to the framework, can you please save all my changes into your database? When you run this query, immediately you will have the data stored in your backend. You see here, this is what the data you have given, right? So this is the approach that it takes to create a data into your database using an entity framework. Now where is the CRM, where is it related? In CRM, right, instead of model dot save changes, you will have context or organization service dot create, and then you will be passing your object names. So this is object name 1 that you want to create your first object. Okay, same thing like this, one more with the second service object, this one. Now basically, right, this is a entity framework approach. Then this one straightforward, let's say it will be like this. For CRM it will be just like this. Okay, I'll comment this to understand the models, right? It will be just like this person to use store everything. Basically this person detail, this current approach is an entity framework. In case if you use a service utility class or early bound generator class, that will generate a class for you within the C# class type. Okay, but from your CRM database, then you will be doing until here it's the same work, then just the additional line that you are using it for a CRM. This is the additional line you are working with your entity framework. Just to visualize, I hope don't confuse, but yeah, just try to see multiple times and do let me know any feedback or anything that you need to understand from this concept?